We are coming to green. The 2020 season is underway here at Texas Motor Speedway. Joseph Newgarden in the lead in that yellow car, and his teammate on the inside, Simon Pagenaud.
Newgarden with a great jump, but Scott Dixon sends it into turn one with authority to hold on to the second position.
Graham Rahal coming out of the warm-up lane in the very back there. You'll see him pulling on. But as we go into turn three, these guys are starting to spread out.
Newgarden, Dixon, Pagenaud, 1, 2, 3. Just like that. 2 champions, 3 champions in the top 3, and then Zach Veach in Andretti Autosport in that Gainbridge Honda. Charlie Kimball is enjoying his time back as a full-time driver. He's in 7th in that green and black Tresiba car. There he is right there.
Challenging time for all the drivers as the sun still shines bright over here in turn 3. You turn into the sun and then instantly into the shade as Newgarden still leads. Dixon, though, is closing with a big run. What happens here?
Big draft, big draft going into one. He backs it off. He's got a really good car right now. He's running closer to the back of Newgarden than I've seen anybody all day.
And we're enjoying a little IndyCar history here, folks. You're watching the first race with the newly implemented aero screen right around the front of the drivers. Now setting sun is always an issue here at Texas down in turns 3 and 4. Now add the aero screen. It will be interesting to hear the drivers' feedback post-race.
Simon Pagenaud right there on the back of Scott Dixon's gearbox. Little gap to Veach, and then there's Erickson, Dixon's teammate.
That's Rosenquist there in the 10. We ride on board with the other Ganassi driver. And Paul, early on, it sure looks like this aero screen is punching a big hole in the air as you can hear Rosenquist get on the rev limiter. It might be that he's geared a little too short to really get a run and complete the pass.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if they've missed the gear ratios for tonight, because as it gets cooler and they run faster, you're going to be really out of gear if he's on the limiter already. And look at this.
That's Newgarden and Hunter Ray in the yellow car and Alexander Rossi in the blue car teammates. Andretti teammates with a drive-through penalty
for unapproved changes prior to the start of the race. So last year's race winner here in Texas and the 2-time defending champion Joseph Newgarden leads the way.
Back at Texas Motor Speedway, 33 laps in the books. Joseph Newgarden has led all but 2 laps of this race. Came on the radio 2 laps ago and said, I have a bad vibration. Feels like the right rear is coming apart. Again, all these teams have to come to pit road within 35 laps. So in the next 2 laps, you're going to see everybody on pit road. This should not be a massive penalty for Newgarden, even though he's going to lose a lot of time here. Everybody else on the track will be down pit road in just a moment.
As you saw, it was a pretty decisive move from Scott Dixon to grab the lead from the ailing Newgarden. Here is Dixon in the PNC Bank Honda for Chip Ganassi Racing. The team celebrating its 30th anniversary.
This is a tricky track at speed, and even trickier getting the pit lane. Coming to you, Marty.
Oh, look at that pit road. It is packed. Scott Dixon, you saw how close he cut it there. You're going to see that all night long as Dixon hits his pit stall. Everyone trying to gain every ounce of time they can, coming to their pit stall and then leaving their pit stall as well. Among the best in the business, this is Scott Dixon. Will Power, you see their pitting as well. Also Simon Pagenaud, the Indy 500 winner from last year. A lot of these cars and drivers saying their cars are way too much understeer, meaning the car is too tight. Not what you want here early in the race at Texas. We're going to go check that right rear from Joseph Newgarden as well, and he said, quote, felt like it was coming apart.
It's a multi-stage, multi-phase speed on pit lane, 60 and 90 miles per hour. 90, of course, on the exit as Dixon gets out ahead of Newgarden. Can he stay there? Newgarden is up to speed.
That's the battle for the lead again. So Newgarden peeled in early. He's back up to speed, but Dixon will be right there with him by turn 1. So we'll see if Newgarden has a run, perhaps, Paul, on the back straightaway.
Absolutely, but they've gapped Simon Pagenaud. Pagenaud's dropped off of this group now and is about a half a straightaway behind. So that pit stop exchange was fast for Scott Dixon and Newgarden. Newgarden, first guy up in that dark section there, going around Harvey on the outside.
That dark section from the traction compound sprayed last November is a big crash. Alex Palou, I believe, the 55, and Renus VK.
2 rookies. 2 rookies have their maiden race ended with a huge crash.
And that's the second crash in the span of about 6 hours for Rinus VeeKay. He was the one that got backwards in practice.
Way up high is Rinus VeeKay, and he's losing it. And
Oh,
Palou has nowhere to go. So it looked like Palou was actually coming out of the pits at that time, and VeeKay was up against the wall and lost it and spun down in it. And poor Palou had nothing to do with that.
Total victim. Wrong place at the wrong time. Left of your screen is Rinus VeeKay up super high. Car gets loose. Alex Palou.
Almost looked like he was going to save it, Paul, then sort of laid back into the throttle and it came around. And right rear to right rear contact between the two rookies.
Yeah,
and for both of these guys, we spoke to them both yesterday. Their goal simply get to the finish, run all 200 laps.
Palou got way down to the bottom of the track, but the car was just coming for him, and he was just an innocent bystander in that.
Time to bring the action in Texas. Let's get back to it with Scott Dixon, the 5-time series champion, leading the way.
Further back, the blue and yellow car of Alexander Rossi trying to make a move on Ed Carpenter. There's very little grip up high there on the darker pavement, and he has to back out of it just to hang on at the exit of turn 2.
Yeah, he went for a ride there. He went for the outside, and then he just took off on him, and he had to skate it all the way up to the wall, lost 4 positions, but he is a lap down. As Veach now is looking at the back of Will Power, and look at Charlie Kimball to the outside with a big run.
That green and black Chevrolet for AJ Foyt Racing. He's on the high line, the slippery line, and tucks back in behind Zach Veach.
He hung it there pretty good, though. He came off the corner as we get too wide on the back straight.
That's Rosenquist in the NTT data car for Chip Ganassi Racing.
And it's obvious here early on, nobody wants to run up on that darker section. Again, from the traction compound for the NASCAR race, the Firestone engineers telling me that surface measures about 15% less grip. As somebody, I think that was Erickson, getting a little high between 1 and 2.
He got high in practice and the car took off. It stuck a little bit better that time. Guys are getting real racy in the back though. Rossi again, too wide on the black.
He's investigating that high line continually in the Auto Nation.
Right behind you, 1 back.
As the temperature now is still hovering around 95 degrees as the sun is setting, Townsend. Sun still on the back straightaway, but the front straightaway is in shade from the grandstands.
And I think the biggest difference in track performance is the track has dropped about 20 degrees since the start of the race, and that probably makes the biggest difference in terms of track grip.
Rosenquist looking for a way around. Tough to pass here. He doesn't want to risk going too wide and getting high. He's just got to time and run off the corner like Dixon did and get down, but Pagenaud there blocks the inside, just kind of fades over and shuts off the inside. He's going to force Rosenquist to go to the high side, but here's the run.
Hey, Pagenaud's complaining about vibration. Let's start working on him.
This is going to be sketchy, though, for Rosenquist. He really doesn't want to have to run up high on that black stuff, so he tucks right back in. He's going to try the run again.
Over-under. He just did a perfect over and under, and now he's side by side, so Pagenaud can't shut the door on him. That was timed to perfection.
Third place for Felix Rosenquist at the moment as we edge ever so close to the halfway mark.
Last season, Rosenquist and Dixon had an epic battle for the win at Mid-Ohio, and you would never think they were teammates. How tight and how aggressive they were racing each other. It just feels like this could shape up to be those two Ganassi drivers going at it at the end tonight, Paul.
Yeah, Felix is right there on the back of his teammate Rosenquist. He's got to be careful he doesn't get up too close. It's still early days. We've got a long way to go. We're well short of the halfway point, so he's just got to sit here as well and just wait and see what happens. This is really going to get serious with about 30 to go.
There's been plenty of attention on these front-running guys. Take your eyes back a couple of positions. The yellow, blue, and black Gamebridge Honda for Zach Veach, and right behind him, Charlie Kimball, and right behind him, Marco Andretti. These 3 guys here have had a phenomenal night, running in the top 10 since the drop of the green. Kimball only did 7 races last year, and here's the fight for the lead. Dixon likes that high line and goes to the front.
What a pass from the outside, drafted up the front straightaway, swept around the outside, and here comes Rosenquist. A big block by Joseph Newgarden. Felix has got to time this exactly like he did on Simon Pagenaud. Try to execute the over-under, Townsend.
Well, Dixon's just going to check out now with clean air until he catches lap traffic. So Rosenqvist just needs to be patient like he was with Pagenaud, the other Team Penske driver he was battling with on the last stint. Rosenqvist can settle in here, study Newgarden, try to make a move, and then catch his teammate.
There is nobody in Dixon's league with a pass like that, and look at him, he's gone.
Oh, Felix got a nice run off the corner. Here he comes on the outside. Can he pull off the same pass? He's not quite there up far enough.
I don't think he's ready to send it this early in the race.
But that was a slow stop. But there goes Rosenqvist down the inside.
Persistence has finally paid off for Felix Rosenqvist.
Watch how fast he dumps the 2019 champion.
Watch
Newgarden hanging on here. Now both these guys are hanging on.
Pagenaud backs up the corner, tries to get a run. He's going to want to try to do the same thing that Felix Rosenqvist did. And that's back the corner up and time it on the exit to get a run. And here he comes. Look at that. Timed it perfectly.
Nice work. And not much resistance from Newgarden either. And there is a line waiting, headed by Zach Veach. And then Charlie Kimball. What a night the Californians had.
Charlie Kimball having an outstanding night, Lee, running in 6th. And in fact, they revamped the entire engineering staff at AJ Foyt Motorsports, and they have been running very well here. Kimball saying, hey guys, the car is terrific. We're in 6th. I just can't move anywhere with all this traffic. So Charlie Kimball having a terrific night. Meanwhile, Joseph Newgarden on cue, coming a little bit earlier than everybody else. You're going to see the other leaders come in about 2 or 3 laps. Newgarden, for much of this run, talked about how the car was better, the vibration not as bad. Meanwhile, his teammate Simon Pagenaud, still going on the racetrack, talked about how bad his vibration was. So pit stops under green here, you have to execute them perfectly. You see Travis Law there guiding him into the stall. So Newgarden, his team got in the lead on the last stop. 4 fresh Firestone tires going on. You see that turn of wing as well. Half turn of wing for Joseph Newgarden. Meanwhile, Scott Dixon keeping up with him, coming to pit road. Everybody talking about how good that 9 car is, how it can rotate through the corner, and obviously no changes other than 4 fresh tire Firestones. Scott Dixon, who goes out, and a very close call there with Simon Pagenaud as he comes to his stall for those 4 fresh tires as well. And also Felix Rosenqvist coming down pit road. Very good on the long run for Rosenqvist. The question, can he catch his teammate Scott Dixon though?
Well, and where does Rosenqvist blend back out with Newgarden? I think he'll come out pretty easily ahead as we see the blend on the back straightaway. There goes Dixon in the orange and blue car. Tony Kanaan follows close behind in the 7-Eleven car. That's Jack Harvey.
Tony was having a wonderful run earlier in the race. Here comes Newgarden to the left, and he had to serve a pit speed violation, and that put him back. So let's see with Newgarden up to speed where he slots into this mix against Dixon and Rosenqvist.
He slotted back into 4th. He got ahead of Veach on that pit stop exchange with a slicker, faster pit stop.
61 laps remain. Make that 60 in the Genesis 300, and you're looking at Charlie Kimball chasing the Indy 500 winner Simon Pagenaud. This would be a huge moment for AJ Foyt Racing if Charlie Kimball can get Super Texas team on the podium in the Lone Star State. We'll have to wait many more laps to see, but Kimball is really putting on a good run, Marty. It's time to go through the field, brought to you by Honda.
And that begins with Mr. Texas, as Paul Tracy named him last year. Scott Dixon going for another Texas win. You know, the one thing they did not get done in practice today, they didn't really make a long run. They had a dash issue in the car. Dixon said, I don't know what to expect on the long run tonight. I would say they can expect speed. That's what Dixon has done, leading 98 laps so far. Felix Rosenqvist right behind him, a young man who in his rookie year last year struggled on the ovals. He said he watched a lot of NASCAR races just to understand the ovals, doing terrific tonight. Again, no drink straw for Felix Rosenqvist. He has not had water this entire race. Behind him, Simon Pagenaud. They have struggled with the vibration the entire night, but not on this run. I checked in with the team a moment ago. Kyle Moyer told me everything fine on this run. In fact, I told Simon, push hard. Let's see if we can get the 10. And Charlie Kimball having a terrific run, sitting here in 4th. And he told me yesterday, I sat on the pole here at Texas a few years ago, and I honestly feel like, Kelly, I have unfinished business. He is showing up tonight for AJ Foyt Racing.
Yeah, behind him, young American Zach Veach, his career best finish is a 4th. That came on the streets at Long Beach. running in the top 5 now, has a good opportunity to match or do even better than that. Zach said he's just riding around right now. The team telling him, great job, just protect that right rear tire.
Kelly, Joseph Newgarden has led 41 laps tonight, but right now sitting in 6th, he is hanging on. The defending champ struggling, car way too free. Vibration is back in that car, and maybe worse as it's been all night long. He said, can I come down pit road? Tim Cindric said, nope, I need at least 14 more laps from you. Connor Daly having a terrific run in the 59 Carlin car, and he told us, you know what, Texas is a place where I feel like we can show up. I am full-time this year, and I have something to prove. Yeah, I have fun off the racetrack, but when I'm here, I'm all business, and I want to win, Kelly.
Behind him, Ed Carpenter in that number 20 car. He's not just a driver, he's also the team owner out of Indianapolis. He'll be running just the ovals this season, so looking to maximize those every opportunity he gets. He's a former winner here at Texas. That came back in 2014, and he just told me he was so excited to get back racing. He had his hands full with homeschooling 3 young kids back at home. Behind him, you'll see IndyCar's youngest ever race winner. That's the young Californian, Colton Herta, who did it last year at Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas. And when he became the youngest winner, his owner, George Steinbrenner IV, became the youngest team owner ever. Well, George's father, Hank Steinbrenner, passed away in April. He was the biggest supporter of racing and of George getting involved with this team, so they have a livery to tribute to Hank Steinbrenner.
Kelly, we've talked about these Ganassi cars. Marcus Ericsson running in 10th right now, his first race with Chip Ganassi Racing. He too having a drink bottle issue, believe it or not. He has the straw, but it's feeding him hot water, literally. They cannot figure out how to cool it down, but Marcus having a good race and got a good relationship with his engineer, Brad Goldberg, as well, by iRacing. Remember they did that earlier this year? They built that relationship, paying off with speed here at Texas, Kelly.
Behind him is the lone rookie left in this race. That is Oliver Askew. He was the Indy Lights champion last year, and you talk about iRacing, he also got involved in what he got out of it. He said he had never performed a live pit stop before, so to even be doing those virtual races, but listen to the timing stand and his strategists and get used to the way they operate, he said, was very beneficial. This is a great run for the rookie here in Texas, 11th for Oliver Askew.
It's also Simon Pagenaud on pit road. Much better on that run for Pagenaud. No changes there, just 4 fresh Firestone for him, and all the leaders now coming in, setting up an interesting thing because whoa, trouble on pit road, Lee.
Santino Ferrucci and the Dale Coyne Racing with Vassar and Sullivan.
Looks like he's missing a right rear.
Yep, the front wheel's off the ground, so the right rear, another problem getting the tire on. You see it's missing there, so these guys are struggling with the pit stops, long time off, and not a lot of real live pit stops, so nothing's like doing the real thing.
Had some issues making the qualifying inspection in tech, so they had to start from the back. Ferrucci was having a decent run.
How about let's keep our head. It's unfortunate. Bring it home, buddy.
Jimmy Vassar.
All right, let's go. All clear outside.
Jimmy Vassar on the radio for Ferrucci, trying to calm him down, get him to the finish. And here's Scott Dixon once again, kind of being held up here by lap traffic. That's Alexander Rossi, who sits 2 laps down on the last stint. Rosenquist took 10 seconds out of Dixon for this exact reason. Dixon was sort of trapped.
Well, Dixon had a big line of cars in front
of him.
Can't get it down the outside, so Rossi doesn't want to go another lap down, but he's already down 2, so that was a little bit of a bold move by Rossi. Rosenquist now closing that gap back down to 2.5 seconds.
Remember how furious Rossi was last year at Indy, having to battle cars. I think it was Oriol Servia that was 2 laps down.
To 1 back in your draft.
The Auto Nation onboard shows you the view from Alexander Rossi's car, and he is those laps down because of those problems at the beginning pre-race.
Running that line, there's no way to get around you on the bottom. He'll have to go high.
So frustrating when you get off on a bad start and you're already a couple laps down. You want to play fair with guys, but ultimately you got to run your own race and just drive your own race.
Checking for damage on Ferrucci's car at the bottom of the screen.
Shut it off.
Jimmy Vassar telling him to shut down the motor.
They're looking at the drive shafts there to see if there's any damage. There's obviously something wrong since that tire came off and it took off, and the wheel came off, so maybe it did damage to the drive shaft or something on the rear suspension.
What a contrast.
Look, if something's not right, keep looking at it.
Jimmy's saying something's not right. Keep looking at it on the Sealmaster Honda. What a contrast to last year, because Ferrucci.
Jack Harvey with issues. Slow on the back straightaway. I don't know if he had contact with the wall or just got up in the gray, but Harvey very slow through 3 and 4.
Outside.
And that's a sketchy moment for Rosenquist late in the race with debris on the track, having to run high around the slow car.
Rosenquist now 1.7 seconds back. Newgarden has kind of recovered back to third with a fresh set of tires, but he's 14 seconds back. Veach has moved up, and Kimball, something has happened with Kimball, and he's dropped back to 8.
Inside.
Powell was on a real run there, trying to get back on the lead lap as well, going with Rosenquist, trying to catch Dixon.
Just gather it back up here.
Seconds up the road. Here comes Graham Rahal in the Fleet Costin Care Honda for Team RLL as he goes around Jack Harvey. But Rahal, like Rossi, had those pre-race issues and was playing catch-up before the green flag even flew. One more stop to go for Dixon.
Here
comes his
Rosenquist.
teammate, Felix Rosenquist. Will be the first of the Ganassi squad to dive to pit road. Or was Dixon already going ahead of him? Look to the left.
No, I think they separated him by a lap, so you'd have an open pit.
And guys, there's the move with Barry Wanzer calling Felix Rosenquist to pit road. They honestly feel like on the longer run, they're a little bit better than their teammate Scott Dixon. And with Dixon maybe not handling quite as well on this run right here, maybe they might have an advantage here. Getting these fresh Firestones on a little bit early. We'll see if they can gain some time on Scott Dixon, who goes by one more time. So Felix Rosenquist making the move, Barry Wanzer making the call, bring him to pit road. We'll see if this gets an advantage over our teammate.
Last lap for Dixon was a 2:09. He's picked it up from doing 2:05s, and he still stays out. So I don't know if this is an advantage. If these guys are running right now, you know, 212s, 214s on stickers, this could be a disadvantage.
I like the strategy for Mike Hall to keep Dixon out front longer to protect against that yellow risk with clean air in front of Dixon. Remember, the last probably 80 laps, Dixon's been trapped in lap traffic. So now he'll come to pit lane, and we'll find out how they blend onto the back straightaway. That'll be the battle for the lead.
That must have been so liberating for Scott Dixon after being in traffic and having to be uber patient, and then just to be able to turn it up and let it fly. Final stop of the race, 12 laps to go.
Please.
And they told his teammate Felix Rosenquist when he left pit road, go as hard as you can. When Scott Dixon hit pit road, he said, I need tear-off, please. Again, he said on that run, the car was not quite as good, but no wing adjustment here for Scott Dixon. Just as four fresh Firestones, Speedway fuel. Now let's watch the blend and see if Rosenquist was able to gain any time.
That last lap was a 2:10 for Dixon. He really picked it up, and I think that Scott is well clear because he's going to be coming out onto the back straightaway about right now.
And Rosenquist has traffic. Graham Rahal there in turn 1, and that's going to make the difference, I think. Dixon there. Here comes Rosenquist, and a ton of traffic barreling down on Scott Dixon. Dixon has to try to get to the front and stay in front of this group. He can't get trapped.
There's his teammate, his other teammate, Marcus Ericsson, to the outside, and he's been able to get up to speed successfully. Rosenquist is fighting with James Hinchcliffe, trying to get by that Genesis car, and Marco Andretti goes right around the outside.
He's up.
Rosenquist!
Hang on to it, hang on.
Oh, what a shame
I
for
think there's
Felix
a crash up
Rosenquist.
the road potentially. No, just Rosenquist in the fence. Disaster. What a run he had going. He can't believe it.
Just got frustrated with the traffic and knew that he had to close that gap to Dixon on cold tires and went for the high line, and it was disaster.
Well, he had to get around Hinchcliffe, and Hinchcliffe, I think, was struggling a little bit and faded up just a bit into the higher line. There you see the half shaft torn out of Rosenquist's car.
What happened to the NTT data car? Was there a slight tap there?
I think there was.
I don't know if they touched. I think that Hinch was a little bit high in the line.
Watch this,
and
Paul.
he was way up there.
Yeah, it was close. I think you're right. I don't think there was contact.
Yeah, Hinch was up flirting on that, and it was just too high.
Let's get ready to go. Dixon's got a clear advantage, and when he gets to the line, there will be just 3 laps to go. 4.5 miles for Dixon to get his 4th victory here at Texas Motor Speedway. Let's see if he can do it.
Huge advantage for Dixon to have lap cars stuck between himself and Simon Pagenaud. Pagenaud back there in the black and white car has to get around his teammate, Will Power. Power holds him off.
Ed Carpenter is all over the back of Newgarden as well. That is going to be the fight for the podium spot as Rossi, who's laps down, trying to make a move on Pagenaud, who's kind of got a safe spot right here. He's got a car in between himself and his teammate, but the battle right now is going to be Ed Carpenter.
Scott Dixon has gone. He has got a comfort zone, a buffer zone. The scramble is for 2nd and 3rd between the Penske teammates.
Veach gets by. Daly up to 6th.
Final lap.
1 lap to go.
How about this for a special piece of IndyCar history here in Texas? The driver known as Supertex, the legend AJ Foyt, won at least a single IndyCar race in 18 different seasons. Guess who's about to equal that? Right here, right now. Scott Dixon, as he comes to the checkered flag, wins in Texas to kick the season off. Caution flies at the same time as the checkers. Charlie Kimball in the wall, but Dixon starts the 2020 season on a high. 4th win here in Texas.
Wow. Crazy untouchable Scott Dixon tonight.
Anybody want some donuts?
I'll take some.
With
Not with
authority.
this motor, Scott.
Not with this motor.
Yeah.
Start of the season, probably a brand new Honda in that PNC Bank car, and it's obviously a strong Honda, so they want to save that. It's got to go many more laps.
Did you expect a dominant performance like this tonight?
I can't thank the team enough. Everybody at PNC, you know, such strange times right now, and I just can't thank the team. It was such a team effort. We had a couple of, mistakes there at the start, both on my point and throughout the race, but we recovered. It was awesome. Honda, it was huge, man. The power out there. I don't know what was with this PNC Bank car. It was just so fast. Any situation we were in, we could just, go for it. So huge thanks to everybody involved, and, bummed that the fans aren't here. Wish everybody was here to celebrate.
Were you thinking it was going to be a battle between you and Felix? Because you had said on that next to last run, my car's not as good right now, and he was quicker on the longer runs.
Yeah, it was more traffic, I think. Like, we could check out. It was just kind of when we got to a few people that were going to be a little more challenging to pass, and that definitely cropped up. Will was pretty tough. I knew he was going to be. He's trying to stay on the lead lap. A bunch of those guys were. Rossi, I think, was going 2 laps down, so I'm not sure what he was up to, but all in all, that's racing, man. And we had to make some big bold moves around the outside, especially into one here on Felix and also on Joseph, which was definitely a nice replay and a nice way to get back to the lead.
Watch the GMR Grand Prix Saturday, July 4th at noon on NBC.